Let's see.
Well, I'm working on it. We're live.
We're live.
All right. So this month, as we talk about what's happening in real estate, wanted to also add just what's happening with you and I. So, again, this is Matt Harper with the 212 Degree team with Keller Williams. And again, joined by my wife, my much better half, Brenna with Land Title.
Hello, everyone.
So, what have we been up to? What does life look like for us during this quarantine, this coronavirus?
Well, I think like a lot of people, it probably feels a little bit like Groundhog's Day. But thankfully, we are very fortunate and blessed to both be working. So we're very grateful for that. We obviously been working a lot from home. On my side, I've been helping out a little bit with our curbside closing efforts, which we'll speak to a little bit later. But, trying to keep some semblance of routine. I've been on more video calls and just calls in general. I think we can all say that. But I think one piece of advice that I got early on that has been echoed several times is, get out of your pajamas, get out of bed, work from somewhere else, even if it's the kitchen table, just to have some kind of new routine. So I think we've been trying to find kind of that new routine amongst the craziness, and still help our clients as best as we can navigate this uncertain time.
Yeah, uncertainty for sure. It's been a roller coaster with what the governor has allowed and then disallowed, and then what's happened with the county. So I would say for me, you mentioned getting out of your pajamas and that. I have pretty much showered every day.
Good for you.
That's my normal. I don't feel like I can get the day started and be productive if I haven't at least showered. So I am getting out of the house. We're both, I think, pretty fortunate, pretty blessed. Our son's daycare is still open for critical businesses. So we're getting him there daily, which is allowing us to work.
Yep.
And function. So feeling very fortunate. I am having conversations with friends and other folks that are really in that battle right now of how do I work from home and homeschool my kids and take care of everything around the house. It's just a lot that people are seeing right now.
Yeah.
So
pretty tough.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, well, on some of our videos in previous months, we have done a overview of what the market looks like. So I am going to touch on that pretty quickly and pretty high level, because as you can imagine, what happened in March doesn't really tell the true story of what we're doing right now. So if you remember, inventory in February was incredibly low. It actually bumped up about 2%, so like 112 homes in March, but that still only puts us at like a month and a quarter of inventory. So depending on where you're looking at it, a balanced market is anywhere between that 4 to 6 months. So we are well below that. And we can talk a little bit more about inventory now. But just know that in March, it ticked up just a tiny bit, but we were still really, really low. Kind of an interesting point is that we were seeing a huge demand for homes in that 600 to 800,000. So obviously a big factor for that is that money is and was very cheap, so you can get more house for your money. So that was up 33% year over year as far as how many people were buying homes in that price point. So that was just kind of interesting. But we started out strong. We're up 6% year over year in sold, and our average sold price was right at that like $559, which is up about 8.3 year over year. So all things considered, we had a really great first quarter. And I think that even though it seems a little bit scary, that actually puts us in a really good position as we start to transition out of our stay-at-home, safer-at-home kind of thing, because, low inventory, we've been a strong real estate market. I was on Land Titles doing industry updates every couple weeks, and we had an awesome panel this morning, and one of the real estate agents said that the Denver market is kind of like Goldilocks. Not too hot, not too cold, just right in the middle. And I just thought that was perfect. It made me chuckle. But there's a lot of truth in that. And I think a lot of that has to do with the diversification of industry that we have in Colorado. So I wanted to pass that to you and kind of have you talk a little bit about how that has insulated us a little bit better than some other parts of the country.
You know, in the last recession, definitely Colorado was impacted less than other states. There's still segments of the economy that do well no matter what's going on. Right now, hard to say that anybody's really doing well. I think that, the toilet paper manufacturers, the big alcohol companies are probably doing well. I think Zoom. Those sales are up. Zoom, obviously doing well with the teleconferencing. Yet the diversity of the economy between small business, farm and agriculture, oil and gas, technology has really helped Colorado, because typically if one sector is down, that doesn't necessarily mean that all sectors are down. As far as our real estate market, the one area that I am going to be watching and paying attention to is what's happening with oil and gas. Yeah. Oil and gas is down dramatically. Yeah. And as it relates to the housing, one county in particular that I'd like to keep my eye on is just what's going to happen in Weld County. Yeah. Weld County has a large percentage of population that their income derives from oil and gas. Yeah. A lot of folks that I knew from the 8 years that I lived in Weld County that are being impacted right now, and just praying for them. That oil and gas, what's happening there is not entirely the result of COVID-19. That's just one more aspect that's kind of driving that down. So that's really unfortunate. Now, some of the national news that I'm hearing, you're hearing these quote unquote experts talk about the economy and what a great time it is to be a buyer, because you're going to get a deal. Now, it's probably a little too early for the stats to show with the stats that you guys pull, because you're pulling those on a month-to-month basis. Yep. So we don't have April's stats yet. We'll have those early next month. Yep. Yet, what are the conversations? Because you talk to a lot of real estate agents. It's more than just me. What is your conversation like as it relates to, is the real estate market crashing here in the Denver metro area?
No. I think we were all prepared for a slowdown, and it definitely has slowed down, but I don't think that it's slowed down as much as maybe some of us anticipated. Houses are sitting on the market a little bit longer in some cases, just depending on the price point. There are a lot of factors, because people are losing their jobs or just because of the uncertainty. Obviously, a big factor is that for a couple weeks now, probably 2 or 3 weeks, there's been no showings. So we've had to, agents have had to be really resourceful and utilize virtual showings, but that's new to a lot of people. That doesn't feel comfortable. So it's been more of a necessity, but you really do see how many people need to buy and sell real estate, because it's still happening. We're obviously at Land Title still closing a lot of transactions, and some of that is obviously because they went under contract prior to the stay-at-home orders. But people are not just stopping in their tracks. They're still doing business, and the 27th or the 1st, depending on what city you're in, we're allowed to start doing showings again. So we think that we'll hopefully continue to see that uptick back. But people are still doing business. Real estate's still happening.
Yeah, 27th to the 8th.
Yep.
The governor's kind of opened that back up for the state of Colorado, that maybe on the 27th business. We're seeing some counties actually start to extend that out to the 8th. So we'll see what that looks like. One of the things that I've been paying attention to on a regular basis is just the market snapshot. So to share some statistics, over the last 7 days, now again, we're still under stay-at-home orders, but almost 982 new listings have hit the market. And 1,051 have gone under contract. So think about that. Over the last 7 days, over 1,000 buyers have said, yep, I like that home enough, I want to put a contract on it, and I haven't seen it in person. Yep. So most of those buyers are not getting the opportunity to see a home until after it's under contract during that inspection period to comply with the governor's orders of the stay in place. So that's a huge piece right now that this is still moving. And I think, to your point, people need to buy or sell real estate. There are, folks that their lease is up and they're not going to have an opportunity to renew it. There's folks that are moving in from out of state or out of town that have to buy a home, that have to be in. There's folks that have to sell their property, right? They had a rental property, the tenants have vacated, and now they need to get it sold. Or, divorce situations. People die. Life still is happening, and real estate transactions are still a major part of that. So,
or you've been in your house for 30 days and you realize you need a bigger house.
That's a real that's a real scenario for a lot of folks. I
Yeah.
was actually talking with a friend of mine who they were pretty sure they weren't going to be moving for the next couple of years, and yet with the 4 of them in their house, she made the comment that, oh my God, it feels so small, and they need to probably be looking for a bigger house here sooner than later.
Yeah.
So, that's something that's going to probably continue the longer that we go through this. So real estate's still a big necessity. What else are you seeing from the conversations with your real estate agents?
I think it's been pretty cool to see, like I said, I think I said this last time as we were just getting into all of this, the innovation that's coming out of this and the adaptation. But you're seeing colleagues come together, you're seeing agents from all different brokerages, and just everyone really coming together to compare notes and see how we can best serve each other in the industry. But there's been a lot more time to slow down and reach out to people and reconnect, because I feel like I'm sure everyone feels this way about their life, but you're just going so quick that we've actually had a little bit more time. I've had some really great conversations with people that usually it's like, hey, yeah, I'm great, but I have 15 things I'm doing right this minute. Yeah. So I think people are taking that opportunity to reconnect and utilize the time that we've been given. So that's really cool. Something what I wanted to touch on, and I know that there's some things on your side as well, but with this Safer at Home, it's not a light switch. It's not just business as usual. It's definitely a stepping stone. So we are looking forward to it, absolutely, because we think it's moving in the right direction, but it's not just going back to normal. So at least for land title, we'll be continuing to do our curbside closings through at least June. So if you haven't done a curbside closing, you basically come into the parking lot in your car, we greet you in our masks and gloves, and the closer comes down and presents the document. So it's a little bit like Sonic drive-through, but it's weird, but it's working well, and we're still getting those deals closed. So that will continue, obviously, to eliminate as much interaction as possible and keep that 6 feet of distancing, and a lot of telecommunication, working from home, and things like that, to just continue to keep people as protected as possible.
Well, and that brings up, land title has the ability to do contactless closings.
Yep.
And it's something that the state of Colorado, in certain capacities, there's a number of check boxes that have to be checked. It's possible that you could do completely contact-free closing to where you don't even do the curbside. So for really high risk folks that are in that scenario, let's talk about that. I know some other title companies are doing something similar. Yet my concern from looking more into this is the program or the system that they're using is not an in-house system. It's a third-party system. So ultimately the third party has access to all the information, access to all that data. As it relates to privacy, can you touch on that as far as what land title is doing? Yeah. Because I believe this is huge. And even before Brenna was working with land title has been my favorite title company to work with. It's amazing to see what they are doing to really go that extra step. So what do you want to share with that?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I think the first thing that has been around for a while is called Remote Online Notary. And that's not just one company, it's just a platform. And it's a e-notary. So it's just like a DocuSign or anything like that where you sign on the computer. The problem with that is that there is that third party involved. And as you know, there's a lot of sensitive information that gets exchanged while you're doing these transactions. So we we didn't love that, along with some other logistical things. And so Land Title, and I know some other title companies have as well, come up with different workarounds for this. So again, with the innovation, but we're doing, it's called a virtual mail out closing. So it's a combination of our typical mail out. So we physically send the documents to the client, and then we do a secure video call to watch them sign the documents. And then we are able to notarize. So that's really important to us because we can keep it in-house. No one else is getting that information. And obviously being able to help those people that the curbside isn't going to work for, or maybe those first responders or people that, their jobs just don't allow them to come in. So just another offering that we have to better serve our clients in this time, and still keep your safety and your biggest financial purchase, safe and secure during the pandemic.
Yeah, absolutely. And which leads into another piece. I know we didn't talk about this, as we were prepping for today, yet whenever scenarios like this come up, there's a large increase in the fraud attempts. Yeah. So anything that smells fishy, if it looks fishy, it seems out of the ordinary, out of the norm, ask more questions. Definitely peek behind the curtain to make sure that you're protecting yourself and not falling in line with some of the fraud things that are happening. So that stuff's something up too.
That's just not in the real estate market. That's across the board. So obviously in the real estate market with wire transfers or even communication with your agent or your lender, we've been seeing a lot more text messages that are coming through as phishing. So just be hyper diligent and aware, and it's never dumb to call and double check. And again, I've gotten so many weird calls about, your warranty and this and that. And unfortunately there's bad people out there that are going to take advantage of this time. So just remember to kind of have your spidey senses up. And if it doesn't feel right, it probably isn't. And it's definitely at least worth checking. So What about you? What are you going to be doing? I know with showings opening, that doesn't mean just massive open houses and big free-for-all showings.
Absolutely. It's still going to be under strict kind of guidelines, whether this opens up for us a little bit more on the 27th, or in some counties we're looking at the 8th right now. And again, this is ever evolving, ever changing. My team and I, we're spending extra money right now to do as much virtually as possible. We are doing more that we can on the front end of it to help ease on the other side of that transaction, so the rest of it goes smoothly. And that's the 3D tours. We're doing more virtual type open houses, which is going to be a little different. Looking to do some Facebook Live with some 3D kind of video game type technology for getting into properties, right? So people can kind of see them a little bit more virtually. So we're doing that, having a lot of conversations with not only top producers in our community, top producers around the country, finding out what are they doing differently? What is it that we can do to, one, make sure that we stay healthy, our clients stay healthy, but we're able to help further the transaction, because again, if people are in need to buy or sell real estate, we need to find the pathway to make that happen. And that's been the amazing thing to watch, is just as this has presented new problems for us, the entire industry is stepping up with different solutions, great solutions, and some things that they're really looking forward to, kind of continuing on the other side of that. So some of the things that I'm hearing in those conversations from some of the other agents is, I'm hearing a lot of agents that are advising their clients to wait, to take their home off the market, to wait to put it on the market, to wait to buy until after things have opened back up. Now, for some folks, that's not going to be an option. They don't have a choice. They have to do a transaction now, and that's the timeline that they have. So this morning, I pulled up and taken a look at the number of properties that have been withdrawn. So they were on the market. The agent and the seller decided to pull them off the market. They're not under contract. The curiosity thing is, are they doing this in anticipation for this coming back on the market once we get, quote unquote, ungrounded, whether that's the 27th, the 8th, or it's further? So over the last 30 days, we've had 787 homes get withdrawn from the market. Now, for context, the previous 30 days, there were only 356. The previous before that, there were 105. So it'll be interesting to see if, when this opens back up, if we're going to see a flood of new properties hit the market, and maybe a flood of new buyers if they're matching with. So we'll keep an eye on the inventory levels. Are they creeping up? Are they staying where they're at? What we're not seeing is we're not seeing the prices decrease right now. I'm still hearing conversations and experiencing multiple offers. I'm still seeing full price offers. I'm still seeing things move at a very, very rapid pace. So we're not seeing homes sit on the market unless they've been overpriced. And let's be honest, if they were sitting overpriced, those homes were sitting 6 months ago, 9 months ago, 12 months ago. Overpriced homes just tend to sit on the market. They don't move anyway. And let's see. Over the last 2 weeks, taking a look just at the showing, we can look at the showing data. What it's telling us is that showings are happening now. They should be happening after it's under contract, and the data could be virtual showings. The showing service is actually collecting that data for virtual showings now, where they may not have been before. But over those last 2 weeks, again, we've had 1,332 homes go under contract. Again, that's a lot of homes going under contract. That's a lot of things still happening. So, we're still seeing things move. The biggest thing that I want to continue to convey is the market's still healthy. Yeah. We're not seeing a dramatic decrease. We're not seeing the prices start to fall off like we saw in 2008 and 2009 when things were really in a tizzy. The inventory levels just haven't grown that far to see that. So demand is still good here in the Denver metro area. As folks are moving in, they're experiencing life, things are still happening. And there's a way that we can do it to minimize or eliminate the health exposure as it relates to COVID-19.
Yeah, and I think you made a good point because a lot of people are trying to draw comparisons to now to 2008. And it's not the same situation, which is a good thing. But something you have to consider is, like I said, in March, we were at just over 1 month inventory. So even if on May 1st, every single home that was withdrawn plus some came onto the market, we would still be in a pretty decent seller's market. So is it as extreme as 1 month? Are we into that like 2, 3, even 4 months inventory? Maybe, depending. Obviously I don't have a crystal ball, none of us do, but because it's not just a floodgates are opening, I don't think that it's going to be May 1st and every single home that got withdrawn is going to be back on the market, because people are still in different situations. Things have changed. People's comfort level is different. So I believe I do think it's going to ramp back up fairly quickly, comparatively speaking, but I don't think it's going to be this like mass flood of inventory, which is ultimately a good thing to keep our real estate market healthy. But again, I think we talk about this all the time. Every situation is different. Every market is a little bit different. So there's not one sweeping statement. Is it a good time to buy? Is it not? Well, I don't know. Let's have a conversation about it. So talk to your trusted professionals, talk to your real estate agent, talk to your lender, and just see kind of what makes sense, and know that if you do want to buy a home and it makes sense for you right now, like, we're still doing business. That can still happen for you, and it can still happen safely.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that we can still do, a lot of things that can happen. Again, if there's questions, there's curiosities about it, let us know, because again, if there's a need, if there's a desire, we can talk through what those steps look like. Again, if there's just curiosity about, hey, what's happening with this, and there's something specific that you want to look at, the neighborhoods are all very pocketed as well. You'll find that some neighborhoods are moving very fast, some neighborhoods are moving slower, some price points are moving faster, some are moving slower. Real estate is all done really at a hyper local level, and there's so many variations or variables that will be affected in there. So
yeah, it'll be interesting to see, in about a month from now, what we're reporting on and what everything looks like and what the state of our state and the world is. But we're feeling hopeful and positive and grateful for our health and want that to continue as much as possible. So any last words for you?
As we end this, as we wrap up this, and we're going to do next month's a little closer to when the data comes out, to leave on the note that the trusted professionals and the people that are here, we want to support you however we can. So, if you're in a situation where you've lost income, I know some companies that are hiring. If you're in a scenario where you're behind or potentially can't make that mortgage, well, let's talk about the options and the solutions that might be there. If you're in a spot where you can't find enough toilet paper, we've got some connections, we've got some ability. We being critical businesses might be able to run to the store, run to some locations, and be able to pick that stuff up for you. So reach out, let us know how we can help and support you. And that's what I want to end it with, I think, for today.
Yeah.
So
perfect.
Awesome. Well, again, thanks for tuning in. We'll be back next month. As this is opening back up, we're going to be interviewing other professionals. It'll be more than just me and Brenna. So let me know who you want to hear from. What are the topics that you want to hear? Do you want to hear about short-term rentals? What's happening there? Do you want to hear from divorce attorneys? Who is it that you want to hear from as it impacts potentially with real estate? So again, thank you so much. We appreciate it. You guys stay healthy.
Yeah.
And we'll get on the other side of this better.
Yeah. Have a good weekend.